The following program was paid for by Southern American Media. Fox 30 WGBC invites you to the talk of all the towns in East Mississippi and West Alabama. Welcome to Mornings with Scotty Ray and Candace.
Oh, button time. I am not paying attention this morning.
It's okay. It's been a crazy morning anyway.
We are, 32, 33 degrees this morning as you're waking up. And you were, even extra almost late today.
Yeah.
What's going on with you?
My car did not want to crank this morning, so I had to drive my husband's truck, which is feels like it's twice the size of mine. I don't know. I just wasn't comfortable driving it, so I can't scoot like I can in mine.
The taller they are, the more they'll tip over.
Yeah, I don't know. It just made me uneasy.
Glad you don't pull campers. But yeah, as cold weather, and there's a lot of people probably waking up this morning with the same issue of their car not wanting to crank. That is such a problem during the winter. If you don't have a strong battery, it's going down.
Well, yesterday mine started having this issue where the fan was like blowing on high under the hood. And it was some kind of sensor he had to replace. So he replaced it, but it did that 2 or 3 times. I think that sucked a lot of the life from the battery. Because even after you turned it off, they were still blowing. So.
Look, and I hate to even admit this, but when I had my heart attack, I parked my four-wheeler, I guess a couple months before I had it. Mm-hmm. And this weekend, and this is coming up on year 3, I really hadn't used my phone. My battery was dead.
Don't you hate that? I used to have the same. My kids would get on the lawnmower and leave the key on. They would act like they were, and they'd mess with it when they were younger and leave the key on. And when I go to use
what's
it,
bad is it's been 3 years since I used it and just noticed it. That's the bad part of the story.
That is bad.
It's amazing how time will fly and it just gets away from you.
Yeah, it does.
Good morning to everybody. We do hope your morning is treating you well. You're up bright and early. Feel good. Again, we've got another frost coming tonight, so expect it to be chilly as we'll get down to about 30 again tonight.
Goodness, it was cold.
It was.
Heavy, like ice or frost or whatever on the windshield. It felt like ice.
Where'd you come from, country bumpkin? Mm-hmm. Yep, there was frost on the pumpkin this morning as you woke up. We did have a few gunshots in Meridian last night as you slept. Nothing horrible, nothing hit, but we did have a shot or two, and I thought we would share that with you this morning. And show you what did I do with it. Yeah, I misplaced it there. I got to look it back up here in just a moment. I got notes on it. It was just west of Highway 39 is where that took place last night. And I'll find it here in just a minute. But it was just west of, right behind where O'Reilly Auto Parts is, as you're coming out the 39 bypass. It was just directly behind there is where we had shots.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah. I'd have to. Nope, that's not it. Me and my notes that sometimes don't make sense.
Well, it's okay. You'll find it.
But that's what happened last night. So, again, nothing danger, nothing bad happened there, and I just, closed that. Now, we've got a special guest coming up in a few moments, and we're going to talk about fires. Mm-hmm. Yesterday morning, and let me pull this up, we had a fire yesterday afternoon out in Pine Springs Road, and we had someone's home burn. Lost everything they had. I've got sizes of what they wear if you would like to help out. We made a post about it, and I'll make a separate one of how to contact and what to do if you want to help out with that. So everybody be careful. We'll find out more about fires. We had one early this morning out on Haguewood Road as we pull this up for everybody to take a look at. Fred Haguewood Road, another mobile home completely lost this morning. There's so many factors that can cause this, and we don't want you to be a victim of this.
Right. Yes.
Again, accidents happen.
When when something like that happens, people lose everything.
Every picture that you've ever had and things that just can't be bought. There's no price on certain items. Right. So be aware of all that. We did have an accident yesterday afternoon. This would be right out by Clarkdale. As you rolled up on Luther Walker Road, the southbound lane, and everybody had to kind of turn and go down by the Superette and around by Clarkdale to get around that. It was blocked there temporarily for a few moments there. Here's where it is.
Everybody okay?
To my knowledge, I'm not 100% of that. I knew the wreck happened, and we didn't get a follow-up after that of what went on. Okay. But hopefully no one majorly hurt with that. We had another fender bender. This happened in the city limits of Meridian, 17th Avenue and 17th Street, 19th Avenue. getting my ducks wasn't in a row, were they?
It's okay. I think we're just all off this morning. I don't know.
Yeah, I was
Just
way
one
off.
of those days.
Everything I touch is this way.
Yeah. Well, yesterday, everything I touched, I dropped. And it was just one of those days yesterday's. Anyway.
I went through a period there of I bought 3 new phones within a 2-month period. That got expensive. Dropped them and no way to fix them. I mean, just destroyed them. I didn't have my grip back. And everything that I tried to touch, I couldn't hold. I got it now. I'm all right.
Well, that's good. I went in the hardware store yesterday.
What'd you bust?
Thing of paint. Yeah, fell.
You
Little
kidding?
the small ones, but I was trying to get one off the shelf. Well, it took the one underneath it down too, and I tried to catch it before it hit the floor. Everywhere, like navy blue paint on a white floor. That was great.
Oh, I bet
So
you were
I was down there
popular.
trying to help the guy. He was so nice, though. I wish I knew his name, but he works at Ace Hardware.
So you were hiding out trying to duck, and
Yeah.
most embarrassing moment up in Ace.
Well, I was like, I'm so sorry. You know, I hated that
Candace.
because really, I mean, that was a day though like that yesterday. And then the paint that I got home, and
Wasn't the right color?
well, I'm not good at picking paint. So
All of that. It didn't
Anyway.
get on you?
no, I'm surprised. I had on white tennis shoes, and no, it didn't. Thank goodness.
That's-
But he was super nice. Thank you for being nice. Yeah.
But
But
you
it
know-
was one of those days.
But you know, occasionally now most everything is made in plastic in grocery stores. But you know that can happen. The pickle jar fall in
Oh, yeah.
everywhere, and then you want to crawl under the aisle because you did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've knocked barbecue sauce off glass
I don't
bottle.
I'm glad you didn't touch me yesterday.
Not yesterday, but I have done that.
Oh,
I've
okay.
been one of those in the grocery store that's not something.
Don't go into it. What was like a china shop? Not a great
A
place
bull
for.
in a china shop?
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't go. Angie's always told me never to go in places like that because I can't walk a straight line. There's what is it, your equilibrium, whatever you
Yeah.
call that. I cannot walk a line that is straight. I can't do it.
I had this. Well, I used to carry a big, massive purse, and that thing could take anything down. It seemed like when you turn.
A lot of women do that because they got everything but the
Yes,
kitchen sink in it.
I know. And then I went to a smaller one, and then I have to take everything out of it to find one thing at the bottom.
We had another little small boo-boo yesterday afternoon. This would be out on Highway 11 and 80. And I'm sure we've all witnessed this to where you're sitting at a gas pump and somebody drives off with the nozzle in the car, gas goes everywhere. Well, this was a step up from that to where someone had a pole on a trailer and they went to pull off. And you know how when you make a turn, how things do this? Mm-hmm. Yeah, the pole took the entire gas pump out.
Oh goodness!
But
So
surprisingly,
they didn't pull up enough before
right,
they turned.
took
Yeah.
that swing there, and luckily the safety measures cut the gas off when it ripped it out of the ground.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, that's kind of shocking that it actually worked. So everybody was okay. It was not a huge fuel spill that you would think. I think we had more Marion that day where the pump overfilled. 40, 50 gallons up there that afternoon.
Gosh.
Also, we had somebody in a hunger attack trying to get to their chicken yesterday. Emergencies happen, and this is the way it turned out there on North Hill Street, coming out to Popeyes.
That's a busy spot. That's a hard
is.
spot to get out of, too. You know, I guess that's where Chicken Basket used to be.
Yeah.
But there's a daycare down the street from there that you're kind of, traffic, a bank, and then you're trying to get out on the busy street. So,
And if you're trying to take a left out of Popeyes,
yeah.
think that it
It's
just
just
didn't work.
best to go take a right, go down through the shopping center. if you
Yeah.
have to. Yeah.
Just a lot better for you. But that was one of the many things that happened yesterday. Now, we didn't have any major events. We were very fortunate.
That's
So we're
good.
tickled over that. Now, if you're into having gotten your COVID shot and you're thinking, boy, gee, I'd really love to have one, the City of Meridian is hosting a place for you to go. The Velma Young Center this Friday from 10 until 1 if you'd like to get a shot.
Okay.
It only hurts for the next 3 hours after somebody sticks you.
Yeah.
And they always give you those little Band-Aids.
Oh, yeah. That they don't put on tight enough and then you're bleeding from it.
Yeah. Yeah, you've been there too.
Yeah. I have.
So get ready for that.
I'm not a fan of needles.
Scared of them?
I don't like them. I don't like
Well, how do you
needles.
handle the dentist?
I definitely do not. I have anxiety about the dentist, but
Really?
I go, but not my favorite place.
It's the top lip, I think, that hurts worse than anything when your lip goes numb on that.
I can take that. It's my thing is I'm
What?
a nervous wreck when they get back here in the back by my throat and that deadening stuff that they put on there to numb it. numbs your throat and you feel like you can't swallow. And
Are you
feel
talking
like
about the
can't
orange
breathe.
flavored stuff, or are you talking about the actual shot?
The shot.
Okay.
The whatever it is in there, it makes you numb.
But it only takes Candace one time for it not to be fully deadened till you really appreciate that shot and go, give me another, please.
Oh yeah, my last trip to the dentist was like that. Yeah,
There's
it just would not. They kept having to give shots and shots. I looked like I'd had a stroke when I left.
Always do this, Candace. Wear cowboy boots when you go to the dentist in case you need to kick anybody.
Oh,
I'm just giving you little tips that I learned as a kid.
Yeah.
Doesn't help. All right, I have to talk about this, and well, hang on. We'll talk about it in just a moment. All that and so much more happening this morning right here with Scotty Ray and Candace. Put a smile on. Let's greet the day and make it a perfect day.
Yes.
The Neshoba County Co-op, 338 West Main Street in Philadelphia, is ready for deer season. Are you? Come choose from one of the largest hunting boot selections around that fits you. The scent wall is packed with many brands that you trust like Tinks and many more. Tons of deer attractions like Acorn Rage, Persimmon Crushed, or Deer Cocaine. All styles and types of feeders that you may need this year. Maybe it's a deer condo you need or a pop-up blind, hunting clothes and more. You'll find it all. And remember, all roads lead to the Neshoba County Co-op.
Collinsville, Mr. Discount Drugs, your local pharmacy and gift shop, thanks you for your continued support. Whether you shop with us in-store, through our app, over the phone, or in our drive-thru, our team will provide the best personalized customer service experience you expect from your local pharmacy. When you call or message us, you are promptly greeted by the Mr. Discount team that's ready to help. When you choose our pharmacy, you're choosing a locally owned pharmacy that cares about you and your community. Collinsville, Mr. Discount Drugs makes a difference.
When you gear up and journey out, nothing but you and the wilderness for miles. Just remember, you're the boss. Steel MS-271 Farm Boss, built for the toughest jobs. Journey onward.
And just a few words of advice as I was sitting there watching Wilson. You can buy things that are cheaper and replace them every year. If you buy steel, it'll be I've had mine 10 years. Well, the one before that got borrowed out of my truck. But, I mean, they just run and run and run. A good product there that you don't have to replace every year.
When I bought my lawnmower, that's where I bought it. I bought it. It was a steel. It was a X-Mark lawnmower, but I bought a steel weed eater at the same time.
Good weed eaters are perfect.
Yeah.
I just don't like running them.
I like it because you can pop the different attachments on them, you know. And I had bought an attachment because I have this long pond dam and bought this long hedge trimming attachment.
Let me know the
that
next
cuts
time you
straight
do
through
that.
My daddy used to call it Johnson grass.
Yeah, we want to video this. Let us know the next time you're down in there so we can come by and just get a little sneak peek of Candace at
Weed eating?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I don't do it as much now. Kurt usually weed eats, but I have now. I'm telling you. I
See,
used
that's
to do
what
it
marriage
all.
would do for y'all,
I
ladies.
used to do
Y'all hear
it
this?
all.
Weed
I don't
eater.
know how I did it, but I did.
Husband, weed eater, all maintenance man, all in one thing.
It took. I mean, I was constantly grass cutting and stuff, but I got it done. Mm-hmm.
We're already 12 minutes into the hour after 8 o'clock. Our special guest this morning is we welcome from Lauderdale County as we learn a little bit more. Let's get a close-up on you there. How you doing over there, Alan?
I'm doing fine.
Alan Dover in with us this morning here from the fire department. Is we're going to learn a few things, but something that we needed to discuss, and I think there could have been an argument and somebody throwing a fit this weekend, is Amy Barrett. Has anybody broke the news to her that Alabama lost?
Oh, yeah. As soon as it happened, I was sending Odie text tell her Rocky Top. And I was about the third one in whenever that happened.
Did y'all see this? And this really happened where two neighbors in Florence, Alabama got into an argument over it, and the guy from Alabama went and got his pistol and shot up in the house?
No.
He did.
Look, I don't doubt it, but it's so crazy when people get
That wound up?
Yes, get that wound up and have scraps like we talked yesterday,
Yeah.
scrapping.
Has Odie gotten anything to eat the last week since this happened? We're all worried about him.
Well, I know. I went to lunch with him yesterday. It may have been his first meal, but because he was piling it on just as bad
Much as he
the
can
rest of us.
consume there so he wouldn't be as hungry when he got home. Go Odie.
Goodness. I bet she's loving
We
it.
keep talking about this. I'm going to be on her hit list, too.
She's going to love y'all after the day.
Alan, as we look at this, and we lean to you advice this morning because we have had 2 homes that were completely destroyed, and Lord knows we don't like that. Let's talk about the first home that caught fire on Pine Springs Road. And did it happen in the kitchen?
It did. Well, that's where it originally started. It was a cooking fire, unattended. Walked away from a pot of grease that caught fire, and of course, people they believe in what people tell them. They use flour, things of this nature.
See, I honestly thought you could grab a bag of flour and throw on something. You
I
can't?
thought salt.
You can if you use it in sufficient enough form, but I can actually show you an experiment where I can take a stocking and fill it full of flour, shake it over top of a candle, and it'll actually combust.
So what should we use?
You should use baking soda.
Really?
I always recommend to have a fire extinguisher in the kitchen. The biggest thing there is to at least have a lid that you can put on it. You can smother it out. If you don't have a lid nearby, if you got a wet towel, you can put that over top of it. But what you're trying not to do is disturb the liquid that's in the pan. So you never use water. If you're going to use some type of chemical extinguisher, it needs to be dry chemical, but at the same time, you also have to have some type of cooling effect. We actually recommend something along the lines of a fire aid or something of that nature, which we actually use in the fire service.
But for the folks that have, and I'm sitting here thinking I've got only one fire extinguisher, and I've got that in my shop. I don't have one in my house. I don't. I just thought about that.
Well, one of the most common things that most everybody has in their house, or they used to, is a big box of Arm & Hammer baking soda, which is sodium bicarbonate, and that is what you actually want to put on a grease fire.
Pull that mic just a little bit closer. We got a couple comments there that you were a little low there. Maybe that'll be a little bit better there.
Okay.
But use
Better
Comet,
now?
you said?
Sodium bicarbonate, which is nothing more than baking soda.
Baking soda is the thing to grab. Most everybody's got that. Does something in the refrigerator too, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it absorbs the odors in your refrigerator. A lot of people have it in their refrigerator. But
Oh, okay. I knew it was always in the refrigerator. I didn't know the reason.
I guess it's okay to use it, though. It doesn't like lose its potency or whatever. You can use it.
Most people put it in the refrigerator to take any bad smells and different things of that nature out. But after it's quit doing that, set it right next to your stove. If you get a grease fire, throw it on there.
Okay.
Now,
Put it right up.
in the early morning hours this morning, we also had another home catch fire and a complete total loss on that. Now, as we see temperatures tonight, again, there's going to be a lot more heat used. Give me some do's and some don'ts, because we don't want another house loss or anybody to be without their stuff.
Well, most common this time of year, and thus far we're not doing too good. We've had 2 cool days, and I say cool, some people will call it cold.
Right.
And we've had 2 structure fires. The biggest thing is to make sure that if you haven't had your heating unit, your air handler, serviced in a while, get that done. We get a lot of calls this time of year. People's emergency strips come on. They've got dust setting for a year or so, and all of a sudden it smokes up their house, and we get those type of calls.
Yeah.
And that's fine. That's what we'd rather go to that, because that's nothing. But it can lead to a bigger fire. If you're going to use space heaters, first and foremost, make sure it's plugged directly into the outlet. Do not use an extension cord, or
See, I didn't
especially
know
the
that.
power strips.
What does it do by having the extension cord in? Is it just more flammable that way? What's the reasoning behind that?
The reason behind it is because most space heaters are going to pull between 1,500 to 1,700 watts. Unless you've got one of those heavy duty, $50 6 foot long cords that you get from, say, Lowe's or another place like that. But where do most people buy their extension cords?
Dollar store.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to get on that harp, but the thing about it is those cords are not heavy duty enough to actually pull that. So it needs to be plugged direct into the wall, and make sure you have a minimum of 3 feet of space around this thing, because even though it may not catch the chair today, but if you keep heating and heating and heating, it dries it out, and then all of a sudden you've got a chair that's on fire. And something like the chairs we're sitting in here today, whenever these combust, they're putting out a tremendous amount of BTUs, because they're made out of polystyrene, styrofoam, different things of that nature, and they put out a tremendous amount of BTUs to the point to where it can lead to a bigger fire.
Now, haven't they changed the space heaters? I know it was when I was little, there was probably a lot less safety involved, but the space heaters now, if you were to bump them over, don't they turn off? The old days they didn't, but they have,
know.
unless you got a 30-year-old one.
Some do, some do not.
Okay.
Most of them nowadays are built out of plastic.
Huh.
It makes it a little harder to determine that's what started the fire and things of that nature. But there again, any type of space heater, electric cord, anything that you're going to be using that has the potential for any type of fire hazard, go to recall.gov. Put that serial number in there, put the name of that product in there, and if it's got a recall, it'll tell you.
Now, it's recall what now?
Recall.gov.
Did you know that about that?
I did not know that.
That is something handy to know. So any product that you have, you can go there and type that serial number in and find out if it's had issues.
Yes, sir. You can put in the model number, the make of it, and sometimes the serial number. It will ask that for that, and it'll tell you whether or not it's got a recall on it.
Give us. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say 90% of those, when it says made in China, it's going to have a recall on it.
Yeah, I can see that.
Goodness. Give us some examples of things you do not plug into extension cords, because I know women probably think, oh, you can plug anything.
Well, curling irons, how does that work?
Well, they pull quite a bit too. Yeah. They're between 900 to 1,000 watts. That little label that nobody ever reads, it tells you how many watts these products pull, and they should not be plugged into. They should be direct. Of course, curling irons most of the time they're used in the bathroom, and so they're going to have GFI circuits in them. So if you plug directly into it, even if the curling iron shorts, it kicks that breaker on that GFI.
What about cell phone chargers?
I do not recommend that you leave a cell phone charger plugged up in your home. This is a constant battle I have with my family. I'm usually the last person in the morning to leave. So I go through every bedroom and unplug cell phone chargers, turn off power strips, things of that nature. I don't leave my dryer running whenever I leave. I never, ever, well, I don't even turn my ceiling fans on, but I don't leave anything running except for the refrigerator. That's the only appliance and right now my central air and heat unit is all that's running.
See, I leave my ceiling fans on all the time.
A lot of people never turn them off.
Big misconception about ceiling fans. People think that it moves the air and that it saves money and it makes it easier to cool and different things of that nature.
Yeah.
And
I feel like I need to go home right now.
Well, let me ask you, Candace. I said, is your ceiling fan hanging over, say, a couch or a chair or
a bed?
A bed?
Yes.
All right. You can leave it on, but you're going to get to meet me on a professional level.
Okay, hush.
Wow.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, I do. I think I need to make a trip home.
Well, let me ask you about this product, because Angie just bought it this week. I've heard about them, but we'd never owned one, to where you don't no longer plug your cell phone in it. You just lay it on top of the thing and it charges it. Mm-hmm. Is it the same concept as the other?
Same concept, because what you're basically, so the piece that plugs into the wall is actually a transformer. Well, that's the exact same thing that is. It's just charging it through contacts. They basically a magnet.
Jan just made a comment that her cousin's cell phone caught on fire, and it was a new one. It doesn't have to necessarily be an older phone for something to spark, and how they do.
Huh. I will say this. I see somebody saying I unplugged my toaster and small appliances.
Amen.
We had a toaster oven, the one that we just... we replaced it anyway.
Right.
It wasn't torn up or anything. We just got a bigger one.
She wanted a new one.
No, well, we needed one for the camper one anyway.
Yeah.
But the thing turned on by itself like a couple of times, and I started unplugging it. Of course, since our house got hit by lightning, I just unplug a lot of things except for my cell phone, and of course I run my.
It's kind of like sometimes how your wife, it just turns on and it won't hush.
Yeah.
You're gonna get hurt.
But anyway, yeah, that worried me, keeping that plugged in from then on.
That is something of something turning on by itself, and I suppose anything can happen, but it does make you kind of leery.
Let me ask you a question about this, and then I'm gonna quit giving you 20 questions. But
I want to know these things too.
Like a lot of women plug in the little wax melter things, you know.
Mm-hmm. Is that where you take the hair off, put it on there and rip it?
Not that kind of wax.
Oh.
This is the scented wax things. But you can plug them in and they heat the wax, you know, they melt it. I wonder how dangerous those things could be. You know, because I've left mine plugged in before, forgot to unplug it or turn it off. And
as long as you're keeping some type of liquid in there so that that heat can transfer. But less than 2 miles from here, we had a house 2 years ago that had one of the scented potpourri that heated it up. And they had set it on top of the dresser in the bedroom, but it did not have any liquid in it. They were just using it but that was plugged in. And that's what actually started that house fire. Had a perfect circle burn right through a wooden top of a Chester drawer.
you know, have you ever seen the candles that have the flowers made into the wax on the side, or any kind of a decorative something made into the wax on the side? My aunt had one of those burning and like forgot that it was burning and left the house. It burned down to the bottom of the candle, but it caught the stuff that was in the wax caught on fire. You know, so that's something to be aware of.
Go ahead and ask the big nasty question here. As we finish up with this, what's the next season? And I would have to think that as Christmas gets here, that more issues come.
There is a ton of issues when it comes to Christmas time. So, you know, and I appreciate people because they do. We've made this safer over time, putting the lights and different things because we're running LED, which pull less electricity. So therefore, there's less resistance and different things of that nature. But if you're going to use a real tree, which some, some people still do, make sure that when you get it home, you cut an inch off the bottom of it so that it's got a fresh way, and keep watering that thing. Check it 2 or 3 times. You'd be surprised how much that tree will suck that water into it. Also look at the lights. If they're designed for outside, don't put them on your Christmas tree, and plug those straight into the wall, not into an extension cord.
That's another thing I was going to ask, because a lot of times, you know, and how many can you plug into
The
each other?
Griswolds.
You know, how many can you like butt into each other? You know, because
It's dangerous. I can see by the expression.
Absolutely.
yeah,
I mean, if you're attaching something to your home, and you know, like I said, I appreciate the people that go out here and decorate their houses and things of that nature. You know, probably the biggest one that I know of is up on Minnebucket Road, and they do a fabulous job up there.
Yes.
But I would hate to know what their electric bill is. So, but how they do it, I mean, again, I don't really have a say so what people can and they can't do. But this is just an attempt to try and educate people. You know, a lot of people don't know. They didn't know that flour will sometimes make the fire worse.
Me?
I didn't
I'll
know
get into
that.
that.
of course, I thought salt.
Salt.
Well, now salt will put it out, but
Okay,
the salt,
well.
you got to have quite a bit of it.
Yeah.
And you also have to be careful that salt takes a little longer to do it, so therefore it can splash some of that grease out of the pan, which is on fire, which is what took place the other day.
What about grease? I know, and I think you've already answered, but I'll go ahead and ask it again. Of the person that thinks, well, if I just grab this and I run to the door and chunk it in the yard, it'll be okay.
It's a great way to end up in a burn unit.
It'll come back on you.
Yeah, absolutely. And you got to imagine that the smoke point on most grease is going to be between 325, 350. Some of them as high as 400, 425 when you start getting into your peanut oil. If it's on fire, it's considerably hotter than that.
Ooh.
And so if it gets on your skin, you're probably going to get to meet the nice people over at the burn unit in Jackson.
Let's talk about that, because a lot of people, leaves are starting to fall. They're going to be burning leaves at some point. If they have brush that they need to burn, when it's safe to,
Well, my hope is that they wait until it's safe. Right now,
Right.
it is not safe. Yesterday, we had wind steadily blowing 15, 20 miles an hour. We're gusting up to 30 mile an hour yesterday. That's never a good day to burn.
What happened to the good old days when you took your blower and just put it in your neighbor's yard?
I
I'm
use
glad I don't
mine.
live next to you, Scotty Ray.
But you know what I was getting at is a lot of people will try to douse a fire to get it started, or douse something on it and then throw a match on it.
Or
what
worse, when it's lit.
Right, because I know not long ago somebody thought they were putting diesel fuel on something and it was gas, and it came back like immediately.
Well, and that's part of it too, is that the fuel that you're going to use, whether it's going to be gasoline or diesel fuel. In the Forestry Service, when I worked for them, we actually did a 1 part gas to 3 parts diesel. And that's what we actually used in our drip torches when we were doing controlled burns. Right now, the state of Mississippi, the Mississippi Forest Commission, has asked, do not burn it all in our state.
It's
we
bad.
are way down on or I should say way up on the drought monitor. Humidity, even though we had a little bit of frost this morning, the humidity is just not coming up during the daytime. Look at all of this in conjunction, what the wind's doing. A lot of people don't understand this, that when you burn outside, if that smoke occludes a highway, you're responsible for the smoke. So if it causes an accident, you can be held liable. Of course, if the fire gets off your property onto your neighbor's property after you done made them mad by blowing all their leaves over there, more than likely
Scotty
they're probably
Ray.
going to come see you again.
Oh, those happen. We've got more coming up with Alan. Y'all don't rush off. Some more questions, and we'll also look at a day in history. All that's up next with Scotty Ray and Candace. As we begin this day's Wednesday, isn't it?
It is.
Midweek. Can y'all believe it? Time to stop spending your entire weekend mowing grass. Step up to a Skag zero-turn lawnmower. Freeman Tractor in Collinsville has the #1 rated zero-turn mower, Skag, with cutting widths from 36 inches to 72 inches. Skag, the #1 choice of professional landscapers because they know nothing outcuts or outlasts a Skag. 0% financing for 48 months with payments starting as low as $129 a month. Stop by Freeman Tractor on Highway 494 and see coleslaw or buttermilk.
H&H Residential of Meridian is your #1 carpet and flooring store. If you've been thinking of a new look for your home or office, call for a free estimate or consultation. H&H can install or you can do it yourself. H&H has all of your design needs from color, style, and texture. If you can dream it, H&H can make it a reality. Come see the large selection of hardwood flooring, laminate, vinyl, and even carpet. H&H Residential of Meridian, open Monday through Friday, 9 to 4, 321 Hawkins Crossing Road. Call Rosemary anytime, 601-462-9541.
Join Mike Rice Auctions and Wholesales every Tuesday night for a live auction, and you can bid from the comfort of your own home. Each week, Mike has a whole selection of auction items. Maybe you're a business that needs a liquidation sale. Or maybe you're in charge of an estate and don't know what to do with all you got. Talk to Mike Rice Auctions about an estate sale. Let Mike turn these items into cash for you. Your next deal is waiting for you at Mike Rice Auctions and Wholesale this Tuesday night, live on Facebook at 6:30. Always visit Mike. Nice guy there. As we start, a couple of birthdays that have strolled in, and folks having a birthday today.
That's right. Claire Embry, happy birthday to you. And Loki, if I'm saying that correctly, Loki Ritchie is having a 6th birthday today.
Hope it's a big one.
Happy birthday.
All right, as we turn back the pages of time, a few things that went on this day. It was 1781, and I've often studied this because I'm just so enthralled with all this. General George Washington got it brought to him because, well, he was just too chicken to bring it himself. As Cornwallis finally gave up and sent his sword in a surrender to General George Washington. And that would kind of signify the end of what had been going on there in Yorktown, rather.
Yeah.
Pretty big deal there for the United States as we finally found that turning point and the war would be won for our independence.
I wonder if they're still teaching history and stuff now.
Oh, pretty soon George is going to be outlawed. We all know that. It's coming.
It's crazy.
If we don't change things around. Uh-oh, somebody was born on this day, and we all know her as Aunt Esther. Mm-hmm. Aunt Esther was born on this day. Let me hit that. We can read it. 1920 was the day. We had a lot of other celebrities. One of my favorites there that she always talked about her brother-in-law.
Mm-hmm. What did she call him? What did she call Fred? Something fool, something.
You old fool. It was something to that nature.
Yeah.
Fish-eyed fool.
Yeah,
fish-eyed fool. That was it.
Yeah,
I'd forgotten about that. All right, as we all grew up, and I think most of the people, whether you grew up with it or watched it with your kids, you'll remember the Brady Bunch. Mm-hmm. The daddy, Mike Reed, was born on this date back in 1932.
Oh, goodness.
I didn't realize it was that long ago that he was born.
Me either. I wouldn't have thought that he would have been.
Yeah. 1945, and I think so many of us love this. Harper Valley PTA. Anybody know that song?
I love that song.
It's just something. Tom T. Hall wrote it, and it starts out with that steel guitar note. No matter where you are, you know it. She was born on this date back in 1945. What a looker she was in the day. I know that's black and white, but that's the best I could do.
She's pretty.
Didn't have one in my wallet to whoop out. I tried. 1945, the first time that I remember seeing this guy was in the movie Footloose. Mm-hmm. And then he would show up on a TV show called Third Rock from the Sun. Anybody remember that?
I do.
And I'm going to let you pronounce his last name. He didn't go to Northeast.
Lithgow is his last name, I think. John Lithgow.
And that was a funny show, too, that Third Rock from the Sun.
Yeah.
But he did make a lasting impression He was in Footloose as the preacher. Anybody remember that?
He was the preacher, and he didn't want any dancing.
Right.
He didn't want all that music in his town.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He was like he controlled the town.
Mm-hmm. He did.
Rodney Carrington. Anybody know this comedian?
He got a bad mouth.
He does. He does.
So
Bad mouth.
You got to look him up
Warning.
to watch his stuff. He does have a bad mouth, but he could be still is funny without all that. But he is funny.
Didn't he? Didn't he pass away? He didn't.
I
Okay.
don't think so. I don't think so.
Okay.
If he did, his wife probably did.
She after him.
He talks about her so bad, like with stuff that she
Look,
gets.
my favorite of all those is Walter. I'm just gonna Jeff Dunham, and Walter is my favorite out there. He's just
Yeah.
tells it how it is.
Walter looks like Joe Biden.
It may be.
Yeah.
I hate to admit this, Candace, but I've only ever watched the first 8 to 10 minutes of this movie. I've never watched it. I lost interest.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm certain it was big. It just wasn't for me. Anybody else watch Dances with Wolves?
Years and years ago.
You watched the whole thing?
I probably did. I can't remember the whole thing, though. But, I mean, I know I probably did watch
He
it.
went kind of rogue or something, and I just it didn't hold my attention.
If I started watching a movie, I usually would finish watching a movie. Now, I hated watching a movie with somebody that was going to fall asleep while you ever had that? You look
Yeah.
over and they're sound asleep.
Yeah, they don't know what
And
happened.
then they ask you a million questions about what happened the next day. Yeah.
See, I am not the guy to watch a movie with. You can ask my wife. I actually, where most people don't want to know, I want to know. I don't like surprises.
Right.
I like to know what's fixing to come up. If you've watched it, tell me so I can be ready for it.
People probably hate watching one with me that I've seen before because I'm like, oh, watch what's fixing to come up. Oh, watch what he's fixing to say.
First time.
I bet they're like, leave the room, please.
Get away from me. First time I saw this was in, was the name of that movie Hogs that had John Travolta and a few of those others where they went and bought motorcycles?
Hogs.
Wild Hogs.
Mhm. That
First
was
time I
funny. I
saw
watched-
this guy.
I
That was
saw
funny, wasn't it?
Yes, and I watched it again not long ago. It was funny.
Anybody know this guy, Ty Pennington? He was a guest star on there where he came in and rebuilt the biker bar to where
yeah.
it burned down.
Well, he was the Extreme Makeover Home Edition guy.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Is he still around? Does
I
still
think
do that?
he is. I saw him not long ago on something else, and he looks a little different than what he used to.
Okay.
Yeah.
He used to be the ladies used to watch it just because they thought he was some handsome fella or something.
But I always wondered on that Home Makeover Edition thing, you know, when they do these houses for these people, are they able to keep them? I mean, are they able to like keep the taxes paid on them and stuff? Because you know that's got to be very expensive. I just wondered.
Don't know the answer to that.
Okay. Next to the next story.
Well, as we all sat down with popcorn, let's see, 6 years ago tonight, we all sat down with popcorn. We couldn't wait, and it really was worth what we got to watch. Who remembers this scene with him lurking in the bag? The debate happened tonight back at 16 between Hillary and I'd Lock You Up was the most famous thing that happened out of that.
Yeah.
I don't remember anything else about it, but that.
I'd put you in jail, yeah.
Yeah. 2010, we would lose somebody that you grew up with. You'd see him in Murder, She Wrote. But the one that you would most likely remember this guy from would be Happy Days.
That's right.
He played Dad.
And he was the Glad garbage bag or something commercial, wasn't he?
I forgot all
Yeah.
about that.
Mhm. Glad.
Glad.
Yeah.
So, well, there you go. A few of the things that happened on this day. I'm sure there's some others that I hadn't stumbled upon just yet, but it brings back a smile to remember a few of these things as it did happen there. Was it the Glad that brought a smile, or was it Ty that brought a smile to you today?
I don't know. I can't remember.
I'm just testing.
Yeah, I can't remember that. So
Scotty Ray and Candace, and let's talk about our friends at Godwin. What do? They clean things. And they're going to be out today doing this all around town as they did this down at the hospital. If you've got a brick building, anything that's concrete, they can make it look a whole lot better. Latest equipment, fleet washing, they do that also. And even down to getting this vinyl siding. It is the worst to turn green. Well, it just look bad.
yeah.
You know, latest equipment also to get up on the roofs. They even have drones that fly up and get those hard to reach places.
Well, that is neat.
A lot safer too,
Yeah.
as we can take care of your metal, your shingles, and all these slate roofs, and just make it look good, including your paint. How about your driveways? And they set you up on a schedule there. Come every twice a year if you need it, just once a year, whatever the case is. Be on a schedule, and each year they'll come back. Godwin Cleaning Services. See them today. Get those steps clean. Anything that you've got that's dirty, Godwin can take care of it. Visit with them today.
On this field, as on the gridiron, each inch is fought for and marked by sweat. Each inch taken through disciplined training. With a Kubota L2501 tackling each inch in the trenches, whether those inches are measured here or here, all adding up to yards. For each yard, Kubota measures victory, and the touchdown is Parrish Tractor. Here, we're much more than a tractor store.
At the Back Porch, we're bringing families back together for fun, food, and all the things you love to enjoy around your home. Everything starts with a great grill, cookware, and accessories. Add in locally sourced meat and dairy, frozen vegetables and casseroles, and over 500 brands of spices and sauces. Relax in our chairs, swings, and daybeds and have fun with our cornhole boards. From animal print coolers to authentic Louis Vuitton purses, we have what you need. When you see the big chair, you've made it to the Back Porch.
And welcome back with Scotty Ray and Candace on this early Wednesday as we all get together. And we got at least one birthday.
Yes, we do. I think we have another one. I'm going to have to hunt it down. But Kimberly Jean Gully is having a birthday today, and her husband, Britt, says very much a happy birthday.
Yeah, I hope it's a big one there for you. I hadn't found the other birthday. It's there somewhere.
Yes.
We'll dig into that and see if we can come up with that. We were talking about Alabama a few moments ago, and this is going to be big. And let's bring Alan back in on this as we take wagers this morning. What is the official as State gets ready to host Alabama? Who's going to win this? I really hate that Miss Barrett is not here to pass along her thoughts on this game that's coming up.
I have no idea. I root against Alabama just because Amy roots for Alabama. It's just a way for us to pick at one another. Alabama's got a good team, but every once in a year they need to have a season to be a little bit humble.
Although Dylan Ray has been at Mississippi State for the last 10 or 11 years now, as time keeps clicking on, but I like State, but I just got a feeling it is going to go Alabama. Is what my thoughts are. Let's just be honest about it.
Yeah. Candace Fuller says roll tide.
Roll tide. Oh, we got Tony going in with some Hell State there.
Oh, yeah.
But it's always fun to watch. I don't care which side of the fence you're on. And it's just good. It's good to have a rival, have fun watching and root for your team. Just don't get ugly.
Yeah, I just hate when people get ugly and they just cause a scene.
That's what Odie said.
Get so mad about I can think of other things you can get mad about.
You're right. As we've been watching all this, and we've had Alan in so graciously to talk about it, and all of this is really and truly to keep your home safe. One thing that we hadn't talked about, there's two things that tie together. We're really bad about in the morning. I think you do it in the mornings, is you'll whoop it out and won't do it the night before, is iron your clothes before you go to work.
I do iron my clothes. Now, my iron has an automatic shut-off. I don't know if that makes that much of a difference. Right. I cannot talk this morning.
Just keep in mind that anything that's supposed to automatically do what it's supposed to do can malfunction.
Right.
You brought up washing clothes and dryers. Let's talk about that lint. What can cause? Is this a real common fire hazard? Is what I'm getting at.
We see quite a few throughout the years or through the year. The thing about it is everybody will tell you that they pull that lint trap out in between each load, and that's a great thing. But if you've got a dryer that's probably older than 2 or 3 years, if you haven't taken the front off of it, you're going to be very surprised at how much, if you've got pet hair, lint, and things of that nature. And of course, once it gets up to the point where it's at those coils, where the heated coils are, now it's a fire hazard. And if you go and you look at these camping hacks and different things of that nature, right. What's one thing they tell you to take to start your fire with?
Yeah.
Lint. I saw another question earlier. They were asking about what cord is safe for heaters as far as extension cord. When we were talking about the wattage and everything, I believe it's a fellow by the name of Blake. Honestly and truly, it's not safe to plug it into any extension cord. They do make some very heavy-duty ones that, like if you're trying to get this into an area away from objects in your house, go to a home improvement store and get the heaviest, thickest cord. Ones. Yes. If you pick it up and if it's 10 to 12 feet long, it should take a little bit of effort to pick up.
Heavy stuff there. Right. That copper does weigh a lot there.
Exactly.
All right, now how often with that dryer, and everybody's guilty of this, of never going out there and pulling the little lint thing up. How often are you supposed to do that?
In between each load.
Yeah, and I do that in between each load. But we bought this little brush thing that's long that you can get them at Walmart or anywhere just about a bit. You can probably get them at a hardware store, I don't know, but you can run that thing down in there and it kind of loosens it up, and then if you could get your vacuum down in there to pull out the loose.
But just understand that especially as you've got moving parts that are moving, nothing is 100% sealed. So what I'm talking about is underneath the barrel of the dryer where the motor sits. Over years, even if you're pulling it in between each load, that stuff will build up to a point to where it'll be almost 1 foot thick. And then once it gets around that motor and heats that motor up and gets to the coils that are actually the electric heating elements, now we got a fire. The other part that is, and I'm glad she brought up about using that long device in order to clean out, you should also be cleaning out where it's being put through your vent that goes to the outside. Pulling those off, they make a tool that you can put on a drill, run it in there. It's not very, I mean, it's going to be dirty, but you know, you want to be dirty, or do you want your house to burn down?
Yeah, true. That's good. Now, what are we overlooking? Because there's got to be something we hadn't thought of that is common things that y'all see with the fire department that sparks these things. What is it that I hadn't brought up here that can cause a home fire?
Quite oftentimes, what we see is that. And we see this more with the older generation, is that if an electrical outlet quits working, they don't want to pay an electrician, so they'll go get an extension cord. They drive nails because they don't want anybody to trip over this thing. And then when you start putting and running it around that nail, and then we have electromagnetic heating that actually takes place. Now, the actual fire will start in the center of the 2x4. That's not so common anymore.
But used to be?
Yes. Or they would take it and they would run it under the rug. Anytime that you put anything and trap heat, it is not a question if it will catch fire. It is a question of when it catches fire. We see from time to time, you're going to have things that are going to malfunction, computers, different things of this nature. I'd say probably our number one starter of fire is going to be the things that we've discussed here this morning. Not cleaning out the lents and different things of that nature in the dryers, ceiling fans, falling onto pieces of furniture and starting fires, the cell phone chargers, using, extension cords.
What about what James just brought up there, a coffee pot? I leave mine hooked up year-round, every day.
And they kind of got a bad rap back in the 1970s, 1980s. Everybody remembers the Mr. Coffee. And it had the timer on it and different things of that nature.
Yeah.
And a lot of fire were started from that, but it was actually due to a default product that they were using in that. Again, coming from China. And the thing about it, I mean, everything is made in China today. But that's the thing about it is that if you unplug all your appliances, I don't even leave a can opener plugged up. The only appliance that I've got that stays plugged up is my refrigerator. And we don't leave ceiling fans going. Of course, I'm going to leave my heater on because we've got to keep the dogs warm.
Absolutely.
And then, keep them cool in the summertime. But, we're constantly checking on these things, checking your wiring. If you live in an older mobile home and different things of that nature, understand that especially if it was made in the late 80s, early 90s, it was never designed for anything more than 100 amps of service. But if you think about most people's entertainment centers now, by the time you get your sound bar, you got your cable hooked into it and different things of that nature, you're pulling 50, 60 watts.
All right, we got a question here that I don't know how to. Patsy says satellite receivers have a fan that always runs. Is that safe?
I've never seen a fire start from one of those.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah. It's like most computers. I mean, like when you leave today, do you turn all this equipment off?
No, I don't.
You're probably going to get me professionally too if you keep going.
Let me ask you a question about gas logs.
Okay.
Because a lot of people that
had their hair singed.
No, but like at night they'll leave them running because maybe that's their only heat source. Is that safe?
That actually is probably the safest fireplace you're going to run into.
Okay.
From time to time, we do get chimney fires. That's because people are not maintaining the product. There's not a whole lot of chimney sweeps around anymore. But I'm glad you did bring that up, because if you have something that burns propane or natural gas in your home, you should have carbon monoxide detectors. Now, what we see most common when we go in and doing a home safety survey is that people will put the carbon monoxide detectors at the same level that they put their smoke detectors. And that's the complete opposite of where it should be. Carbon monoxide is heavier than air, so it should be mounted to wherever the smallest, shortest person in the home, whether that be a child or an adult, wherever their head will be lying whenever they sleep, it should be approximately 6 inches below that level. Because those things alarm whenever carbon monoxide levels get to like 400 parts per million. That's not enough to kill you, but if it keeps going and you're asleep, you just won't ever wake up. If you do not have any gas appliances in your home, you can buy a carbon monoxide detector. It's just not going to do you any good, because you've got to have some type of open flame.
As Karen had pointed out, their home caught fire last year. She's learned a lot by what you said. We got more coming up with Alan as we wind through this Wednesday morning. Y'all warm up. The Piggly Wiggly of Collinsville is passing along these great savings this week. Red, yellow, or orange bell peppers, 2 for $3. Fresh blueberries, $2.99 a pint. Halo mandarin oranges, a 3-pound bag, only $6.99. Sweet onions, a 3-pound bag, $3.99. Boston Butt Twin Pack, $1.59 a pound. And certified Angus beef ribeye steaks, family pack, just $12.99 a pound.
And we're down home, down the street, Piggly Wiggly.
Rock House Gun and Pawn is open Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. until 6 p.m. Lots of different calibers and brands to choose from when it comes to hunting rifles. Whether you're looking for a new pump shotgun or an AR, the Rock House will have the gun that you need, with a huge selection of ammunition for just about any caliber that you may be looking for. Pistols, scopes, and a whole lot more. Plus a private lobby for your confidentiality when it comes to your pawns. Rock House Gun and Pawn, located at 5430 Highway 19 North Meridian. Jackson Flowers has moved to their new location on Highway 19 North. They've been locally owned and operated for over 60 years here in the Meridian area. Open house will be November the 6th from 1 until 5 p.m. Continued great service that you've known for years. They offer floral arrangements, live and artificial, a gift shop, fall and Christmas decor, and birthday treats for the pups. Visit Jackson Flowers in their new location 2 miles north of Walmart on Highway 19 North. Jackson Flowers, for all occasions. Amanda and all the team are at work this morning. They got the heat going over in the building. Where are they at? At Snowden and Company is where you'll find them. Right there in the Broadmoor area, or if you want to call it North Hills area, is where they are. Poplar Springs Drive. They got so many homes for you to decide. I'm sure they got a closing again today. So many people drop in and visit them and use them. Professionals. They decipher all that code words that the banks use in those big, thick papers you have to sign. They'll make it simplicity for you and explain exactly what it is. They're great at it. No matter the size home that you want, 2, 3, 4 bedroom, even bigger, they can pick that home out, let you know when it comes available in the market in your area. If you want a specific school district, they'll do that also. From the water to, just a flat lawn. Maybe that's what you want. I don't want no hills. I don't want no trees. Tell them. They'll find it for you. Again, Snowden and Company, great folks to deal with. You'll enjoy it. Drop in and see my friend Amanda. She'll show you all around and pick it out for you. She's got a complete staff also. You can visit, call them, 453-3937. Again, in North Hills, you can't miss them there, right off the road.
They're great to deal with.
What were you going to ask about? You had another question that you wanted to fling on him.
Well, a couple of things, but I know we only have time for just a moment. But the plug-ins, Glade plug-ins, somebody was asking about that because a lot of people have those, including myself. But that, and also putting stuff on your mantle if you do have logs, whichever one you
well, it's not recommended that you have anything that could, because usually a mantle is going to be heavier type wood, so it can withstand up to a certain amount of heat.
Right.
But the little Glade plug-ins, I'm not a big fan of those. The most danger comes whenever they start to get low. But again, that's just like a transformer for a cell phone. The biggest thing, the last thing I want to try and put out here is that if you have all these questions and you want to really get educated about it, contact your whoever your fire department that covers it.
Like
most of the
Long
time.
Creek
Yeah,
or
yeah.
Lauderdale.
And I know you got people that watch all across the country. Contact your local volunteer or your career department. They'd be more than happy to come out and do a home safety survey, and they can point out to you things that they know will catch fire eventually.
I think that's a great thing.
That's
yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
And they'll help anybody out with that.
Yes. From time to time, I get calls. I go speak at community clubs and different things of that nature, and I usually have a pretty busy schedule for the next 2 weeks after that.
Yeah.
But you can contact your local volunteer fire department or your career department, and they will come out and do you a home safety survey, and they'll tell you, hey, this is dangerous. You might want to correct this.
Now, let me put you on the spot.
Okay.
And there may not even be anything coming up, but I know from time to time, like Long Creek, I've seen them do a lot of pancake sales. Have we got any of the volunteer fire departments right now doing any fundraisers that are up and coming?
Well, you've got Bailey Fire Department is going on right now with the Haunted Firehouse. They'll be going through, I think, the first week into November. But usually in November, December, you're not going to see too many fundraisers. Probably the next biggest one that's coming up will be Martin Day.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm sorry, I do know one that's coming up. It's Causeyville Day's coming up.
Yes.
They are selling ribs right now. They're selling whole Boston butts. They'll be selling pulled pork plates. Causeyville Day, which is in the end of November. I'll get you that information.
Okay. But it's just important to support your
Yes.
local volunteer fire departments. When those guys knock on the door, and whether it's $5, $10, whatever they're selling, support them when you can. If you've got a little extra, because they go above and beyond to help each of us have a safe home. And we just wanted to
Yes.
point that out there.
And I mean, they also, respond to emergency situations other than fire. I mean, sometimes I've seen them do
Big
that.
limb down. Here they come.
But yes, we're so thankful for them. We appreciate them.
This has been an interesting moment. And a quick note I saw, and I only remember the name Elizabeth Smart, but if y'all remember back to 1996, a young lady named Kristen Smart was killed. They have found her killer. The crime has been solved, all due to a podcast that wouldn't let go of it. That's good.
Yes.
Killer has been brought to justice. So that's one of the big headlines that's happened across America over the last little bit. Let's see, there was one other thing that I was going to bring up this morning. Oh, the cost of candy, up 13% from last year. If you've been buying your Halloween candy for the kids, it is a little bit
That's right. And
more
don't be
expensive.
fooled. Always check to see how much is in the bag, because the bag might be the same size for the same price you paid, but you don't get as much in there.
There's
check
been a
it.
lot of
Yeah.
downgrading in sizes.
Yeah, yeah. And also, somebody, Linda Culpepper, is saying happy birthday, Shirley. I'm not sure of Shirley's last name, but if you're watching and you have a birthday, Shirley, happy birthday.
We just got
Somebody's sister.
Long Creek there.
Yeah,
on
that's
the-
Chief Doggett that posted it up. I appreciate him.
Yes.
He keeps me reminded quite often.
November the 5th is when they'll have their pancake. Enjoy it, and I hope you can help them out. We can't say thank you enough to everybody for coming in and joining us today.
Yes, we appreciate it. Appreciate you.
Hey,
And,
I enjoyed it. Anytime you
yes.
want me back, call me.
We'll do it. Candace is getting a new battery today, y'all.
I am.
Y'all have a good one.
The Scotty Ray Report is brought to you by our following partners: